On September 18, 2015, the United States Environmental Protection Agency issued a notice that would shake the global automotive industry. Volkswagen had installed software in millions of diesel vehicles designed to cheat emissions tests. The cars behaved one way in laboratories and another way on the road. For years, regulators had believed Volkswagen was producing clean, environmentally friendly diesel engines. That belief was false. Within days, Volkswagen stock collapsed. Lawsuits piled up across multiple continents. Executives resigned. Governments launched criminal investigations. In the years that followed, Volkswagen would pay more than $30 billion in fines, settlements, and penalties. This is the story of how the world's largest automaker chose deception over honesty, protected a lie instead of fixing a problem, and learned one of the most expensive lessons in modern corporate history. To understand how this happened, you need to understand Volkswagen's position. By the early 2000s, Volkswagen was one of the most powerful car manufacturers on Earth. Founded in 1937, the company had grown into a global empire with brands spanning every segment of the market: Volkswagen, Audi, Porsche, Bentley, Lamborghini, Skoda, Seat. Together, they sold millions of vehicles annually across Europe, Asia, and the United States. In 2014, Volkswagen surpassed Toyota to become the largest automaker in the world by volume. That achievement wasn't accidental. It was a result of an aggressive strategy focused on scale, engineering reputation, and global expansion. But Volkswagen faced a critical challenge. Europe was tightening emission standards. The United States was even stricter. Regulators demanded lower nitrogen oxide emissions without sacrificing performance or fuel efficiency. For diesel engines, this was a problem. Diesel cars were popular in Europe because they were fuel efficient and powerful, but they produced significantly higher emissions than gasoline engines. Competitors responded by adding complex and expensive emissions control systems. Volkswagen wanted another solution, one that was cheaper, one that preserved performance, one that could scale across millions of vehicles. Internally, engineers raised concerns. Meeting emissions targets honestly would require redesigning engines, installing costly hardware, and delaying product launches. That meant higher costs and lost market share. Leadership faced a choice: slow down and fix the problem, or find a workaround. Volkswagen chose the workaround. The solution was software. Engineers developed a defeat device, a piece of code that could detect when a vehicle was undergoing an emissions test. During testing, the car would activate full emissions controls and pass regulatory limits. On the road, those controls were reduced or disabled, improving performance and fuel economy, but releasing up to 40 times the legal pollution limit. To regulators, the cars appeared compliant. To customers, they felt efficient and powerful. To Volkswagen, the problem was solved, or so it seemed. For years, the strategy worked. Volkswagen marketed its diesel cars as clean and environmentally responsible. Advertising campaigns in the United States promoted clean diesel as a breakthrough technology. Sales grew, market share increased, executives celebrated. The company's reputation as an engineering leader remained intact. But outside the company, cracks were forming. In 2014, researchers at West Virginia University conducted real-world emissions tests on diesel vehicles. Their findings didn't match laboratory results. Volkswagen cars were producing dramatically higher emissions during normal driving. The researchers alerted regulators. Investigations began quietly. Volkswagen denied wrongdoing. Engineers blamed technical issues. Executives assured regulators everything was compliant. But the data kept pointing in the same direction. The truth was unavoidable. In September 2015, Volkswagen admitted the existence of the defeat device. The fallout was immediate. Volkswagen stock lost nearly 40% of its value in days. CEO Martin Winterkorn resigned within a week, stating he was shocked by the events. Governments around the world launched investigations. The U.S. Department of Justice pursued criminal charges. European regulators reopened emissions testing procedures. Trust evaporated overnight. The financial consequences were staggering. Volkswagen set aside billions to cover recalls, customer compensation, and legal settlements. In the United States alone, the company agreed to pay over $14 billion to buy back affected vehicles and compensate owners. Additional fines followed in Germany and other countries. By 2020, the total cost exceeded $30 billion. But the damage wasn't limited to money. Volkswagen's brand suffered a collapse of credibility. Customers who believed they were buying environmentally responsible vehicles felt deceived. Regulators treated the company with suspicion. Competitors seized the opportunity to highlight their own compliance and transparency. Diesel technology itself became politically toxic. Cities announced future bans. Governments shifted incentives towards electric vehicles. Volkswagen had helped destroy the very market it once dominated. The company attempted damage control. Executives issued apologies. Advertising shifted towards accountability and renewal. Volkswagen announced massive investments in electric vehicles, promising a cleaner future. Internally, leadership framed the scandal as a failure of oversight, not intent. A few engineers were blamed, systems were restructured, ethics programs were expanded, but the central question remained unanswered. How did this happen at the world's largest automaker? The answer lay in culture. Volkswagen had built an organization obsessed with targets, growth targets, market share targets, cost targets. Missing those targets were unacceptable. Engineers who raised concerns faced pressure. Delays were discouraged. Bad news didn't travel upward easily. When performance metrics conflict with reality, reality often loses. The defeat device wasn't just a technical decision, it was a cultural one. In the years after the scandal, Volkswagen survived. Sales eventually recovered. Electric vehicle programs gained momentum. New leadership emphasized transparency. But the dominance never fully returned. The company remained profitable, but permanently altered. Regulators became stricter, customers more skeptical, investors more cautious. The cost of the lie extended far beyond the fines. In the end, Volkswagen's failure came down to three mistakes. First, the company chose deception over delay. Fixing the problem honestly would have been expensive and embarrassing. Lying felt easier. Second, leadership prioritized scale over accountability. Meeting targets mattered more than questioning whether those targets were realistic. Third, Volkswagen underestimated the long-term cost of losing trust. Trust, once broken, cannot be bought back by marketing or investment announcements. Volkswagen didn't collapse, it endured, but it paid an extraordinary price to do so. The company protected a lie for years, believing it could manage the risk. Instead, the lie grew until it defined the brand. You can cut corners, you can manipulate systems, you can delay consequences, but eventually, reality asserts itself, and when it does, the bill comes due. Measured not in views, not in headlines, but in billions.